giving something away?
Yeah. All right, it's a little bit after 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start the caucus. First item, not on the agenda, but I had asked Jennifer Johnston to come tonight from Aqua, Ohio. And in light of our last meeting we talked about with John McCary was here, and I figured he would better be able to tell us about what's going on with our water supply and what Aqua, Ohio does. So I asked Jennifer to come and give us a little speech. Come on up.
Where would you like me to stand?
Wherever you'd like.
Okay, come on over here so I can address everybody. Good evening. Thanks for having me. Due to some of the recent media focus on water quality, particularly around lead that we've been reading in the paper every day, prompted Mayor Sickens to invite me here tonight to talk about what Aqua does to ensure the delivery of safe and reliable drinking water to our customers, which include residents in the village of Poland. So I just want to start with a quick little scope of what our area covers around here when we talk about the water system in this area, what that means. The scope of our operations is what we refer to as the Struthers Division. So I'm the area manager for the Struthers Division. We have a treatment facility located just down the road on 170 that I'm sure you guys pass every day. And we produce approximately 4 million gallons of water per day that comes out of that plant. And that water serves approximately 20,000 customers, which equates to about 60,000 people in Mahoning County. And this is pumped through a distribution system that made up of about 300 miles of pipe. We also maintain over 2,500 fire hydrants along that distribution system. So the treatment plant is staffed 24/7 with technicians that are certified by the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, which we refer to as the Ohio EPA, and they conduct more than 2,000 tests annually to ensure the quality of the drinking water that's delivered to the taps. Our labs are also certified by the EPA, and our labs, as well as our test results, are subject to regular inspections. Aqua summarizes our water quality tests in our annual Consumer Confidence Report. It's also referred to as a water quality report. And we are required to mail these reports to everybody, all of our customers, by July 1st of every year. So the current water quality report is actually from 2014. I brought copies with me tonight. They're also available on Aqua's website in the customer service section. So the 2015 water quality reports are due to customers by July 1st of this year. So I just want to now talk a little bit about what you need to know about lead, what we do to protect our customers, what customers can do, and then it'll be brief. So you've probably been reading in the paper, but lead in drinking water is regulated by the Ohio EPA using guidelines established by the U.S. EPA and the U.S. Department of Health. So these agencies have determined that elevated levels of lead in drinking water can become concentrated in humans and can cause health problems, especially for some vulnerable populations such as pregnant women and children. So lead enters drinking water primarily as a result of corrosion or wearing away of plumbing materials that contain lead. This could be service lines, pipes, fittings, solder, or plumbing fixtures. So while it was once commonplace, the use of lead in plumbing has been regulated out over the past several decades, but lead plumbing still exists, and levels of lead aren't surprising in homes with lead service lines and other plumbing. So about testing and monitoring. So the EPA, the Ohio EPA, monitors lead levels in drinking water through tests that water providers are required to take in homes throughout our water system. The frequency of these tests are prescribed by the Ohio EPA and based on past test results. So systems like Aqua, we have a record of levels below the EPA action level, are tested in homes every 3 years. And there are some systems that the EPA determines deserve more scrutiny, and they're tested annually or even more frequently. So Aqua's latest round of test results for this division were conducted in 2014. And we were required to take 30 samples, and of the 30 samples we took, none had detectable levels of lead. And the results of those lead tests are summarized in that water quality report. There's also a lot of information in here, similar to what I'm telling you, but some information about lead and lead testing and what consumers can do for more information. And there's also a website on here where the U.S. EPA provides a ton of information on the lead and copper testing. Okay, so a little bit more about what Aqua does to protect our customers. First of all, our Aqua's water meets or exceeds all drinking water quality standards. So this is inclusive of the lead and copper rules. And with respect to lead, Aqua is responsible to treat water to keep lead levels collected at homes below 15 parts per billion where necessary, and to notify customers of any exceedances. So we have to treat the water to prevent corrosivity, and we have to notify if we had an exceedance. And I mentioned earlier that the lead enters the drinking water primarily through corrosion. And this is determined largely in part by water chemistry. And that water chemistry affects the water's tendency to collect lead and other materials from the pipes in which it travels. So we treat the water that we produce down there in our plant to prevent corrosivity. We add lime. That's one way you can add to your water source to treat corrosivity. And this increases the pH level of the water, and it basically adds a protective coating inside the pipes. And so that's what helps keep the water from being corrosive. So while we are responsible for providing high-quality drinking water that meets all the regulations, obviously we cannot control the variety of materials that are out there in the system. So there are some things that customers can do and should know about. So customers own and are responsible for their service line. So that's the pipe that delivers water from the curb stop into the properties and the plumbing in their homes. So any customers who have or think they might have lead service lines are encouraged to consider replacing their service line. And if anybody's unsure, you would want to hire a licensed plumber to inspect your service line. And when we replace water lines, if we see a lead service line or we should find a lead service line, then we will replace the portion of the line that we own, and we will notify the customer so they can determine if they want to replace a portion of their line. So Aqua, we're committed to ensuring that public health is protected. We're very serious about following the strict regulatory testing and all the reporting protocols. And just producing the water is just part of our mission to ensure that this continues to happen. Statewide, and Aqua's, this division is one of 5 divisions across the state of Ohio, we've invested more than $81 million in capital improvements in our systems, and we plan to spend another $31 million in 2016. Locally, our investments that are planned just in this division over the next 5 years total over $24 million. And that includes a significant upgrade to our treatment plant. So we're continuing to make updates and to make sure that we stay ahead of regulations. It's likely that the news reports, I don't see this stopping. I think that we're going to continue to read about this issue over the coming days and months. And I anticipate that we're going to see some revised or new rules being issued from the EPA. So we want our customers to be assured of a couple things. First of all, we're committed to testing to assure the water quality, and we're committed to investing in infrastructure to enhance and continue our reliability. And we will also comply to meet any new or revised regulatory rules that may be coming down the pike. So, we really value the relationship we have with the village and with all the communities that we serve. We appreciate the opportunity to have this open dialogue and to be called upon as a trusted resource and a partner. So that's just a summary of it all. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or would like any further information. Even if I can't answer your questions tonight, I'll be happy to get back to you.
So as of now, there's nothing in any area of Ohio that's any problems they know of?
Correct. We haven't had any. We've had some inquiries. And as inquiries come in, customers do have concerns. If they call and say anything, we have a process in place where it's called a lab orders issued, and we have a water quality expert get in touch with them and answer their questions if they have a question and ask it, anything like that. So,
what are the pipes made of? What kind of metal?
It's a variety, and all new stuff that goes in is made
the
of
old stuff.
The old stuff.
Yeah.
There could be, old lead before that it was outlawed. Before there could possibly be lead.
Do you go in there and replace that?
We do not place the customer side of the service line.
On your side.
On our side, we would, yes. Yes.
So, in other words, if the testing of someone's home showed that it was the pipe from the street to the home, that's the part that you would replace.
The street to the home is the customers would replace. So if you can picture, if a water main is going down the street like this, we have a service line that basically takes it to the curb. So that's Aqua's responsibility. So that's what we refer to as the company service line, or Aqua's service line. And then you have from the curb stop, from the turn off at the curb into the home or business would be the responsibility of the customer.
Okay, but you have
chemicals that are supposed to alleviate this problem.
Excuse me, correct. Correct.
And also, if you let the water run a little bit,
Yes,
you don't have any problem. Ed told me that we have no problem in this area.
correct.
He's the president.
Yes, yes. Ed is president of Aqua Ohio.
Yeah.
Aqua Ohio's, the Ohio headquarters is right there on South Avenue.
Yeah.
That's the headquarters for all of Ohio. I happen to run the division of their neighbor, so we're based out of Struthers, but obviously we work closely with them. So, yeah, I mean, that's what the guarantee that we can make is that we treat the water so that it is not corrosive. And that's helpful. So even if you're in a situation where somebody might have lead pipe or lead line, there's no guarantees. I'm not going to say that nobody's ever going to, if you have lead plumbing or a lead service line, that you're never going to get detection of lead. But the chances are greatly reduced when you have a water source that is not corrosive. And you may have read about some of the issues that have happened in some other areas where there were issues with the water, being corrosive to the pipes. And I think we're going to see a lot more come down from EPA as far as maybe tightening up notifications, education for customers on their plumbing and their fixtures.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And like I said, I have some copies I can leave here on the table just in case anybody would like any copies of the water quality report. And there's information on there, our customer service line's on there, and there's information specific about our last lead results. Okay? Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, Mr. Major, you have a guest also, Jason Cook, correct?
Actually, I do.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a JM on there.
That's okay.
Jason Cook to address council regarding implementing legislation addressing the tethering of dogs within the village limits.
And I'll introduce Jason and why we're talking about this tonight. I think a couple months ago, I saw Jason at an Angels for Animals event, I think, and we were...
Night at the races?
Night at the races. And we were talking about his love of animals and whatnot. And Jason was asking about the anti-tethering and the pit bull ordinances that we had in Poland. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a lot about them, so I looked up the laws. And sure enough, we have an ordinance that specifies a vicious dog based upon the breed rather than any action that the dog is taken or not taken. And Jason was explaining to me that in different areas, Youngstown, I think Canfield, and around the state of Ohio, these laws are being replaced by councils, and they're not defining a vicious dog anymore simply by the designation of breed. It used to be Dobermans a long time ago, German Shepherds, and now Pit Bulls. So I talked about it at one of the council meetings, and I talked to a law director, I think from Aurora, if I'm not mistaken, who gave me some different laws that did not have specific breed discrimination or specification in it. And I did note from council that there were some reservations that pit bulls have been dangerous in the past, and there was concerns about taking away that designation in the code, simply because if we would do so and someone would get hurt, I think council, while not being responsible, would nonetheless feel pretty bad about that. The thing I did not talk to council about in depth, and this is the thing I think Jason wanted to talk about tonight, is the anti-tethering law, which again I don't know a lot about. That's why I said, Jason, why don't you come and explain it, because you do better than I do all day long. So I think Jason's here tonight to talk about the anti-tethering ordinance, talk about the vicious dog ordinance, and to take any questions from council about any concerns in changing such an ordinance. So without further ado, Jason Cook.
Mayor Secretary, members of council, Anthony, thank you for affording me the opportunity to speak with you. Just briefly, I want to give you a little bit of background. My name is Jason Cook. I'm former president of Animal Charity Humane Society. They're the humane society that serves Mahoning County. I've been an animal advocate for the state of Ohio going on 6 years. I serve on the board of directors for Falcon Animal Rescue and also on a member of 4 grassroots organizations. I speak regularly at Columbus concerning House bills and Senate bills regarding animal law. I go to several schools and talk to kids about interacting with animals and how to treat animals with respect. And of course I work on breed discrimination legislation, and I also work on anti-tethering legislation. I'm sure you saw, probably just within the last few weeks, a lot of in the news about tethering, specifically in Girard. And it is a problem. I don't think it's a big problem in Poland Village, but I think it's better to take a proactive approach and get something in place so that it doesn't become a problem. For those of you who aren't aware, Ohio really doesn't have anything that designates a companion animal as not being prevented from being tethered. As long as it has provided adequate food, good wholesome food, shelter, the dog can stay out there in any kind of inclement weather. It could be a weather advisory, it could be 110 degrees out. As long as it's abiding by these basic laws, then humane societies, they really can't do anything to help the animal. And if the animal is licensed, has its rabies shot, then the dog pound really can't get involved. So there's not much in place right now to help these animals. Now, Ohio is a rural state or an agricultural state, and we face an uphill battle constantly trying to get animal laws passed. Currently down in the House, there is some talk about a tethering law that would apply across the state of Ohio. My hopes for that passing are not very good. But,
Excuse me, Dave, describe tethering.
Tethering, that would be like a chain, a rope, a pulley attached to a dog and usually attached to an immovable object like a doghouse, a rock. I've seen bumpers, tree stumps. That would be tethering. Limiting the mobility of a dog so it has a limited radius. Okay, and then there's also penning and caging where the dog is kept.
Is that included?
In what I'm proposing, yes.
Okay.
So the penning and the caging would be a confined area where the animal obviously has limited space to roam around. It still is an important protection from the elements.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no problem. So what I would like to do is, as I said, Ohio allows for municipalities to have home rule, and they can enact ordinances that, as long as they're not in conflict with state law, they can pass these a lot faster than we can ever get things done on the state level. Last year, the city of Youngstown passed a ordinance regarding tethering of dogs, and just recently, Boardman Township implemented a tethering ordinance regarding dogs. And I think that's the approach that we need to take. I've seen far too many cases of these animals being subjected to unnecessary cruelty because we can't get anything passed at the state level. And you as council members have the power to make change and put ordinances in place that protect these animals. Now, as Mr. Davalito mentioned, I also work with breed discrimination. Now, last year in Canfield, Ohio, Canfield had a ban on Pit Bull Terrier and Pit Bull Terrier mixes. Unfortunately, a dog was forced to be removed from a home. I don't remember what month it was. Subsequently, council revisited the issue, and they lifted the ban in place of a breed-neutral ordinance. In other words, they're not specifying which type of dog. I then went to Youngstown, met with their law director, and the city of Youngstown repealed their Pit Bull Terrier ban. There's currently, Girard has a Pit Bull ban, and then Struthers, Poland, and Columbiana, they don't have bans, but they have restrictions, and they have designations as these dogs being vicious without any provocation, just because of how they look, because they have big heads or whatever their reputation is. I've went through section 618 of your ordinances quite thoroughly, and specifically its designation of requiring insurance for someone to have a Pit Bull Terrier, and also its designation that they be declared vicious upon ownership. And I would encourage council to allow us to present legislation that would take away that designation, because it does nothing for another large dog like a Shepherd, a Husky, a Rottweiler. It's simply for this one. And insurance, I understand, but that's kind of like a reactive approach. Somebody's already been bit, somebody's already been injured, okay? And somebody could come and say, well, why are you just focused on this dog? Why wasn't it on Rottweilers? Why wasn't it on these other large breed dogs? And so our goal is to say, let's not look at the dog and what kind of dog it is. Let's look at the behavior of the dog. Let's look at how the dog is kept. Let's look at the dog's record. And let's put something in place that protects the people and is also fair to the dogs as well. So, and where that plays a part in is, I mean, we all see dog attacks on the news, and they're horrific, but so many of these animals are just, they're abused, they're victimized, and most likely, almost always, they're always tethered 24/7. And when I mentioned the bumper, that's not an exaggeration. And the chains, I mean, if you can imagine, chains possibly this thick, maybe only about this long, and that's their life. And then, somehow these dogs get free, they've not been socialized, and unfortunate incidents occur. And you guys can really take steps to protect the citizens of Poland Village, and like I said, help these animals in the process. I brought with me some proposed ordinances regarding tethering. Also with, I've looked over your vicious dog ordinances. Another thing I noticed in section 618 is that you designate that if somebody has a pit bull terrier that it's a misdemeanor, but you have no recourse for them to repeal their decision or have any way to get their dog back, nor does it say that you're going to take the dog. I mean, I see a lot of problems in that legislation. I think it needs to be addressed. And this isn't a problem that's going to be fixed overnight. But I work with Holland and Muradin. They're animal law attorneys in Sharon Center, Ohio. And this is what they do. They work on legislation throughout the state. The ordinance that I brought with myself today is from Cleveland, and it was recently adopted by Cleveland. And it's a very sound ordinance, and it addresses not only tethering, but also caging, and also penning, and also I have information about some breed-neutral ordinances that have been adopted. And I think, we work together, we can, with some education, and, we can all come together to something that's good for both the dogs and for the citizens. I mean, I have 8 rescue dogs myself, all of them from humane cases. 7 of them are pit bull terriers. I mean, I stand behind my dogs, and I love them, and, I want them to be treated fairly, and it hurts me to know that if I were to ever move to Poland Village, that automatically my 7 dogs who have never harmed anyone would be declared vicious for no reason other than that it has a big head or a bulky body or what have you. And I don't think that's fair. I don't particularly like discrimination in any aspect of society, and especially when it comes to my animals. So, and I think we were talking, if this wasn't a dog and we were talking about persons, this wouldn't even be an issue. I mean, but because they're dogs, it is. So I have brought information with me that I'll give to council at the end of the meeting. You're welcome to look at it. And Ms. Pinella will attend our next meeting. Hopefully there is a next one. And she can go in more depth about changes that Poland Village can enact. And like I said, this isn't an overnight process. I'm not trying to push stuff forward because I want it to be sound, and I want it to be effective, and I want it to be enforceable. Because if you don't have those two things, then it's just printed on paper. So I would love to answer some questions if you have any.
Okay, Jason, I'm sorry. I don't know if I caught. Who are you associated with?
Like I said, I work I'm board of directors for Falcon Animal Rescue.
Who?
Falcon Animal Rescue.
What's that?
We're a rescue based in Austintown. We handle cats. I'm a member of Nitro's Ohio Army. That's where we talk about...
Who pays you?
Nobody pays me.
This is all voluntary on your part?
Mm-hmm. For the past 6 years, this is what I dedicate my life to doing. Because, I mean, you hear, it may sound cliche, but they really don't have a voice. And there needs to be people out there to speak for them. And I made that decision 6 years ago. And it's difficult, but it's so rewarding when you see the help that these animals get. And then I'm also, like I said, I'm a member of Ohioans Against Breed Discrimination. So,
Okay, so Anthony, so you're going to give him all the information that you brought along, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. And Anthony, you work together with, you know this? You've got enough to do besides worrying about
No,
dogs.
I'm happy to. I know Jason very passionate. Like I said, I saw him at one of the animal charity events, and he pointed out to me our laws, which I didn't know existed, and that's why I brought it to council. But as you can tell from Jason talking, he's very passionate, and I thought he'd do a better job of explaining than I could. Whatever council wants me to do, I will look into it and go over with you.
Thank you. I've been looking into this a little bit about breed discrimination and seeing a lot of statistics about the various animal breeds and vicious attacks across the country. And was wondering if you had any type of statistics on that that you could share with us as well, so that, because right now the numbers that I'm looking at, they look pretty bad for pit bulls as far as the extent of their vicious attacks versus other breeds. So if you could share any statistics you might have, so we can use that in consideration.
I will provide Anthony with some statistics from actually Cleveland Animal Control, which has some very interesting statistics. But I will pose this before I go any further. What is a pit bull? What is a pit bull terrier? I mean, it really comes down to, when you hear about these in the media, this dog that has a big head or even looks like a pit bull terrier, the headline reads, "Pit bull mauls chow," or "Pit bull mauls elderly woman." A lot of times these dogs aren't what you would say are a prototypical pit bull. They just have a little bit of pit bull terrier in them. Does that make them bad dogs? No. Is the majority of attacks pit bull terrier associated? Yes. But you never hear the rest of the story, because that's not what gets the headlines. The only thing that gets, it's pit bull attacks, pit bull attacks. Well,
Anthony, we know that the anatomy of a pit bull has jaws like a vice, right? They got, when they grab a hold of somebody,
anatomically speaking, a pit bull terrier's jaws are no different than...
Oh, that ain't what I heard. Are you sure? Okay, all right.
A dog's jaws are a dog's jaws.
All right, excuse me, Jason. We're going to stand, do Pledge of Allegiance. We'll come back to you in a second. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of members.
Mr. Donovan?
Here.
Attorney Glimmer?
Here.
Mr. Mazur?
Here.
Mrs. Surratt?
Here.
Mrs. Wilson?
Here.
Mrs. Josh?
Here. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the orders of the day and continue in our caucus.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, sorry about that. Good.
Councilmember, if I could continue, when I was a kid, I would see images of pit bull terriers hanging from poles, suspended with the notion that their jaws, would lock. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, and a lot of people were led to believe. But anatomically speaking, like I said, they're no different than any other dog. Do they have strong jaws? Absolutely. They're a large dog. So do Rottweilers. So do Shepherds. But yeah, the notion that their jaws lock is a misconception. And any veterinarian can talk to you about the structure. It's just a canine. So.
Well, if you could just provide those statistics that I asked for to possibly counter the things that I've been reading, because again, it's pretty indicting on pit bulls. If you could provide that, that'd be great.
As far as getting the information for Mr. Dapolito, because I don't have sound numbers with me now.
Oh no, when it's convenient for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason, were you done?
Yeah.
You mentioned that you worked with a couple of attorneys on this, and I wondered if you could tell us, is there anyone in our area who has changed legislation because of what's happening?
Well, actually, two municipalities have, Youngstown and Canfield.
So Canfield did.
Yeah, so Canfield's different than Poland. Canfield actually had it stated that no one living in the city limits of Canfield could own, possess, or harbor a pit bull terrier. Whereas Poland, you have, if you own, possess, or harbor a pit bull terrier, you have to carry so much insurance. So what Canfield did is they replaced that language with a breed-neutral language. And now, Poland, the insurance aspect of it, I just don't understand. It's not protecting the citizens. I mean, because what it's essentially saying is if I'm affluent and I have the money, then I can have a pit bull terrier, I could have two, I could have three, as long as I can afford to pay State Farm my premium each year. It doesn't say anything how I care for my dog. It doesn't say anything how I have to treat my dog. I mean, how is that protecting the citizens of Poland? I don't see it as it being. On the counter, I would say that somebody that perhaps isn't well off and is a very good owner, and they can't afford to afford their owner's insurance, and they're precluded from owning what is a very beautiful dog. And we should really look into that, because
I think Jason, and I talked to Mark Fortunato, the law director in Canfield, and I thought that the state law had required individual villages and townships to change, and it does not. It allows the village and township to decide on its own. So my perception is this: even though it's not incumbent upon council to change the law, why would council want to change a law that would protect those from a breed that has demonstrated, even though it may be, we'll get into the numbers, I guess, but maybe small, maybe not so small, but why would council want to change a law about a breed that has demonstrated to be at least a little bit dangerous, if not cared for, or if not whatever correctly? Why would council want to take that measure to change an ordinance that hasn't ever been challenged or hasn't ever been discriminatory against any pit bull in Poland Village? Is that a fair way to sum it up?
Yeah, and you got to be careful here, because take a look. What's our mascot? Poland Bulldogs.
I mean, and the bulldog, it falls under the pit bull test, Staffordshire Terrier. I never even thought about that, but
that would be the question. Why would we want to do that when we don't have to? Why would we do that now?
I mean, I think in life we all do things that we don't have to, and we do them because it's the right thing to do. And in 2012, when Ohio removed pit bull terriers as being listed as vicious, Anthony is correct. That does not require municipalities to necessarily not designate them as vicious, such as Poland does. But as I said, I mean, the goal of, in my mind, city government is to protect citizens and have laws in place to protect them. And right now, I look at your dog ordinances, and I don't see that. I don't see any protection being afforded. This insurance requirement, I don't understand, and perhaps if there's somebody in council that could explain to me how that is going to protect the citizen. I mean, you have nothing that says that somebody can't own a pit bull terrier. That's not there. It's just that they have to have this insurance. So how is that protecting anybody? I mean,
so mostly what you're seeking is a breed-neutral stance. That would be your top priority.
Not only that, but I would want something in place that, it holds these owners accountable, okay, and protects the people. I mean, there's so many municipalities that have adopted ordinances that address a myriad of issues that are related to dog attacks of, huskies, shepherds, what have you, and they do protect the people, and they're easily adopted. And the great thing about it is that they're enforceable. And I don't know how many actually went through Section 618. It's actually 618.01. And then the other problem I have is, if my dog was designated as vicious and I didn't carry the insurance, you have no mechanism in place for me to recover my property. And sadly, under state law, Ohio, dogs are property. And so, I bring that into question as well. But yeah, I would get the statistics, and they are going to be skewed.
They're alarming.
Yes, but like I said, I do have, when you go to Google, and this is people, I have a strong following on social media, and I post a lot about them, and I often laugh when somebody posts a statistic about pit bull terriers, and I know what they did. They Googled pit bull, whatever, the first thing that pops up, some sponsored ad by dogsbite.org, what have you.
I avoid sponsored ads.
What's that?
I avoid sponsored ads.
Yeah, I'll get you sound statistics, and specifically this one from Cleveland, which has a lot of pit bull terriers. And it'll show you that, prior to the ban and then after the ban being lifted, that there's actually been a decrease in the amount of bites. And, it sounds counterintuitive, but I'm not here to get anybody hurt, and I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to see a child bitten, I don't want to see an elderly person maimed, but, I would feel terrible if that did happen and there was not a mechanism in place to protect these people, and right now I just don't believe you have it, and you do have the power to put something in place that can.
Thank you.
Good for you, for a volunteer.
What's that?
For a volunteer, good for you.
I think everybody needs to give back to the community, and that's what I've chosen to do. So I saw all these young people behind me. They're all excited about having to come to government and witness good. Yeah, right. No, but what I would like to do is, it's not going to take me very long to get the requested information and to also bring up, I don't know if we want to take a two-pronged approach to this, if we want to look at the tethering as a separate issue and the 618.01 is a separate issue. I don't know how council wishes to proceed. I can get all the information and put it together in one presentation, or I can do these in separate meetings.
Our process would be the legislation committee would look at it first.
One time, if you want Jason to get it to me, and I'll give it to legislation.
Yeah.
Get it to me, if you would,
Okay.
Jason. I'll give it to legislation, and then we'll present it to council. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. And I'll give you all the statistics that you require. I'm very neutral. I'm going to make sure that everything I give you is up straight, and even if it may not look so great, but I also want to get stuff behind the scenes and give you some background.
We'll be open-minded about it.
Okay, thank you.
So, Jason, I have a question as the zoning administrator. Have you come across any legislation that limits the number of animals that a household may possess?
Absolutely. In the city of Youngstown, for one lot, you're allowed, I believe it's 3 dogs. Okay. If you have a double lot, then I think it's 6. So, yeah, there are, and I think there's other municipalities that do have, maybe even Campbell, it could be Struthers, but there are the ones that do have that. Fortunately, I said I live in Boardman and I have 8, and that doesn't exist where I have. But yeah, certainly Youngstown does, and it's I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea. I have kind of mixed emotions about it. It really comes down to how the animals are living. And yeah, I could get that information as well from Youngstown if you're interested in that.
Please include
but
it.
I hesitate in trying to limit the number of pets that a person has, because if they're a responsible pet owner, I mean, what are we doing penalizing them for rescuing 4 dogs? But yeah, like I said, I'm going to get everything together for you, and I'll give it to Anthony, and however council wants to proceed, I'm all for it. And Miss Pinella, like I said, she works in Sharon Center, so that's about an hour and 15 minutes away. But certainly she could come to a council meeting and she can answer any legal questions that you have. I can also get in touch with the Humane Society, have them come in and talk to you about the effects of tethering, and also what they did to help Campfield repeal their pit bull ban as well. So, is there any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much.
Anyone else want to discuss the item before we go back in on this agenda? Figure all the ordinances and stuff like that. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to resume the orders of the day.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Acceptance of the minutes from the previous council meeting.
Make a motion that we waive the reading of the last council meeting of February 2nd and accept as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
All right. Notification of meetings and events to the public and news media. Blooper.
That'll be before the next council meeting at 6:30.
Which, by the way, our next council meeting is March 16th, the Wednesday, because of the primary election.
Correct.
So next Wednesday, the 16th. Finance.
Finance is going to hold them on the next meeting until we see where we're at with not hospitalization, but our insurance policy is going to do. We may have to reschedule that from the new one. Keep you posted.
Okay. Legislation.
Nothing scheduled.
Police.
Police met this evening, so not until next month.
Streets.
I guess
So the next...
that's March 16th, right?
6:30?
Yeah, 6:30.
Boards. ARB.
We'll be meeting this Thursday, the 3rd of March, 7 p.m., Village Hall. We do have an agenda.
Planning.
We'll go April 20th,
What day is that?
6:30 or 7. It's a Wednesday.
Not sorry. Okay. All right. Zoning Board of Appeals,
Nothing scheduled.
Western Reserve Joint Fire District.
Not me.
Well,
We meet next Wednesday, Station 92, at 6:30. No, 7:30. 7:30.
Forest Board.
Well, we'll see. Nothing right now.
March 27th,
March 22nd. 7:30 or 7 o'clock?
7:30.
Okay. And High Memorial.
The High Memorial Fund will be meeting on the third Wednesday, which is March 17th. Is that right? Yeah. At 9 a.m., but we're going to meet at the Presbyterian Church.
They meet in the morning. It's the 16th is the Wednesday.
Is it the 16th? So we will be meeting up at the church, Joe, and not here at 9.
Which day did we advertise that?
That's normal.
Can we put a note on the door?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of we're moving it up there.
Yeah.
Whether
Thursdays.
Yeah.
can't put a notice on the door, going to meet up there for that meeting.
I don't think that's...
You have to advertise
What was the date?
Yeah.
March 16th.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday, the 16th.
9 o'clock. Okay, report from Mayor, a few things. Jennifer, correct me on the time and place. Aqua is having their meeting on March 3rd, which is Thursday, at 7 p.m., correct? And where is that?
Correct, that's part of we do a quarterly forum for our local rate agreements. And that's at the Struthers City Hall,
Okay.
Thursday the 3rd at 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you. We had a meeting here, I don't know, probably about 2 weeks ago, talking about the water issues we're having with the creek. And Stephanie from Eastgate was here. Myself was here. Ed Kempers from the schools was here. Joanne Wallett from Poland Township. And John Woolward from the County Engineer's Office. And it was a good meeting, and we're going to have more of them. But we sort of got together and figured out what we could do with the stream and safety and signs and all that kind of stuff. And Stephanie brought some information from Eastgate. They had got a grant through, I don't know who did it, but it was for the Mill Creek Park, sort of did the same thing. They have their own design thing there, but they made some signs about the streams. And obviously we know what's gone on Mill Creek Park. They're just open. It's upcoming this week. I think their new 2 lakes were open today. But they had all the E. coli problems and the fish were dead and everything like that. So we're not anywhere near that issue. But they had signs made up to, educate people about the stream and what could be in there and what to do. And more of a positive learning experience. She still stresses that rather than, caution, stay out with a skull and crossbones on the sign. She doesn't want that to happen. So we're going to continue looking at this. And
We've already bought the signs.
well, I know we got our stuff right now, but there's more to it than that, I think.
And I had a follow-up conversation with Stephanie, and I don't want to interrupt, Mayor, if you're still going. Go ahead.
Please, enlighten us.
Stephanie called me after that meeting, and we've talked in the past about this issue, that we don't want to create hysteria about the water, but we want it to be more of a public awareness that we're not sure what's going on with the water. We have to study it more. I talked to Ryan Tekak from the Board of Health, and their water cycle testing season doesn't really start until April when the water's flowing better. So we can't really do any testing right now to find out what's going on. So we're in a holding pattern. And I told Stephanie that I appreciated her position, and she's a scientist, and she's very smart, and that I understood her rational approach. But that in my position as administrator, I'm confusing my job for a second, as solicitor, my concern was different. My concern was looking out for council, looking out for the village, looking out for the residents. That while I appreciated the need to be scientific about it, while we're waiting, I'm not going to just tell council, let everything be. I think we needed to be proactive. And the wording of the signs, we talked about it. I don't think that by stressing to the residents to stay out of this water and not drink it, whether you say warning, caution, however you want to say it, whatever you do to convey that point is important. And I said I didn't feel the need to lower down the language in any way because I'd rather be on the safe side. There may be a time in the very near future that we take the signs down and we know everything's okay, but it's not right now. I also mentioned, I talked to Mrs. Edeker, that I gave Ms. Edeker a verbiage, language to give to the Poland School Board and to Mr. Janife about disseminating to the students and the parents. And I read her what the text was that I sent to Ms. Edeker and to the superintendent. And she again understood, she felt it was a little more than was necessary, and it may have been, but I'm going to err on that side in advising the schools and advising council until I know that water is safe. So she understood, I understood, we respectfully agreed to disagree, and that our roles and how we look at this are a lot different. And I'm very interested to find out what is going on there, so we do know, because I don't think we know right now.
The signs have been ordered. Russ
Pick them up in the morning.
picked them up in the morning, and Russ and I determined 10 places where people gather and come in contact with the water. And those are the sites where the signs will be put up.
And I think it's important that the village did something. While we haven't gotten, Miss Stacy texted me today actually about
She called me as well.
And I know the readings that I've gotten from Miss Stacy from YSU. I don't even take that as definitive. I take it as precautionary. I take it as there's some source out there that says that this water is, contaminated a little bit. But until the Board of Health does it, then we don't know. But in the meantime, we do know that someone, did fall and got pretty sick. And I'm not going to let that happen, or I'm not going to let council not protect itself and the village while we figure this out. So I'm 100% agreement. I stand behind the opinion that we put these signs up. The only problem there is once you take a step, then the question is, did you do enough? That's always been an issue in the law for entities that try to protect citizens, about things. We talked about the recreational user statute, but I think we had to do something. I think we did the right thing, and I'll feel better when those signs go up.
Anthony, where do we stand with the health department testing? Are we going to contract with them?
I already talked to Ryan, and he's putting together a schedule of testing along with the amounts that it'll cost as they determine that we'll need. They'll present that to me probably in another week or so, and then by April, if council approves, then they'll start doing the testing.
What did the sign say? Tell people.
I think they say...
Bill, you
I did write it. I wrote it.
Did you wrote it? You made the signs?
Warning, do not enter or drink water. Something like that.
Creek water. Creek water. Yeah.
Oh.
Not that I would imagine anyone drinking it, but,
It's a warning. It's a warning. That's the main thing.
At the solicitor? Oh, sorry. All right, thanks, Anthony, for running the meeting.
You're welcome.
The gas lines, people, if you're lucky enough to live right around here, you've had some fun the last couple of weeks. Dominion's replacing gas lines through the village. Right now, they've done parts of College Street, Ohio, Michigan, on Audubon right now. And if anyone saw last week, there was a giant rat at the library and the post office. And the reason why is because they are using, the contractor using non-union people. They're local people, but they're not in the union. So Russ knows the union guy, and he called us and talked to us, and so obviously they're angry about that, but it's their right to protest any way they want. But Russ told them that if you come here, stay off don't block traffic, don't cause trouble, don't break the law, basically. And they've circulated pamphlets throughout the area. Obviously they're mad because it's not a union job, but I talked to Dominion and sort of was in the middle with Anthony Trapicani and some of these other people, and it's basically nothing of us Dominion's doing. They said they screen their contractors and they recommend they use union help, but they don't require that. So they're going to come back again and do some stuff, but it is what it is. So if you haven't had your area done yet, you're going to be in for a fun time of digging up your yard and everything else, but everything's going okay, right? No problems or anything?
Haven't had any issues other than that.
Are they doing all streets in the
I
village?
think, aren't they doing all the village?
Not sure.
Wow.
Quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're doing every one, but they're doing every one.
They put a hole, like a big hole, and then they bore down to the next house, put a hole, come up, and go down. So they don't dig up your whole yard, just like one hole in each yard, but it's fun. The last thing I have was the Forest Board. There was a resignation from Drew Marquez, so we have nobody on the Forest Board. And we had several good applicants, and I talked to a bunch of people, I reviewed some things, and no matter, like the people I've talked to I said no matter what happens, whoever I pick, the other person, I'm going to be happy. But we had 3 good candidates, and the people that I didn't pick, I want to use them in the future. We have some plans to maybe down the line do some advisory boards or something like that, because there's a lot of expertise out there. But the person I would like to recommend the council for your approval, of course, is Mark Thompson take the Forest Board position. So that's my end of report.
Motion to accept his report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Report from Fiscal Officer.
Okay, I'm circulating around the list of bills to be paid. These are from both February and for this week. Circulating that way. I'm also circulating for your signatures a copy of the bank reconciliation. The accounts are reconciled. You have in front of you the January figures. The 2015 annual report is finalized and it is available for review. The 2015 Department of Justice annual report is filed for the Law Enforcement Trust Fund. We received an IRS form 1099K, which was from the vendor who handles our credit cards. And for the period February through December 15, we processed in a violation bureau $57,453 charged to credit cards. Not bad. And the last thing, we received the first half advance from the county auditor in the amount of $16,720. One last thing that's not on my report is you received a revised appropriations ordinance. The only thing on this that is not the same as what you received in your mailbox this week is the Hine Fund. There were some numbers that she wanted switched around. That was from the weekend. They had a meeting this evening.
And everything, what you had on the 22,001,
Yeah.
that was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever you had on it,
Yeah, so that's okay.
well, no, it was different than the 22. You have 22,492.
Yeah.
She was going off, let's see, what is she doing? Well, this is fine. I'm trying to have 20, it's like 22.5 something,
So
06
this is a
cents.
little lower.
Yeah.
So if there's anything else that we need adjusted,
Yeah,
we
it
can
was this
adjust.
one. 22,521.06.
Right, those are
was
the
the
old
one.
numbers.
Okay. She just thought we were going with the same numbers. Okay, we're not.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going with the numbers that she emailed me over the week.
Okay, so we're at 22,492.20.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
And that's it. End of report.
Motion to approve the Fiscal Officer's report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the Deputy Clerk. Report from Zoning Administrator.
Okay, so we will be having an Architecture Review Board meeting this Thursday. We're going to be meeting with the owner of the Poland gas station, Mr. Ray, to discuss the progress that he's making. We'll also be meeting with the owner of the former Poland Bake Shop to discuss signage and the progress that he's making on his renovations. In addition, I'm starting to get calls on sheds, and it is raising another problem that we have with the current zoning code the way it's written, and I think that it will need to be addressed. The current setback for sheds is 25 feet, and it has never been enforced, and presents itself as almost unenforceable. and I think it needs to be addressed.
Why do you think it's unenforceable, Dave?
There are many lots that do not have more than 25 feet from their home to the rear setback. In addition, I will say the current standard seems to be 5 feet. If you go up and down, you pick the street, walk it, and you can literally count just about every house that has a shed is approximately 5 feet from the line. There may be a few that are 10 feet, and that's it. And these, I mean, it's a great preponderance of homes on probably every street.
Do you think that's a reasonable amount? Would you be happy with an ordinance like that, or how do you feel about it?
Me personally, I think it's acceptable. Like I said, pick a street, take a walk, and you'll see it.
Wait, what's the proposed law is going to say 25 feet?
No, the current zoning code says 25 feet.
Ridiculous.
It's too far. It's not.
Right.
It's not feasible.
Okay. Leave it the way it is.
No, it's currently 25.
25 feet. We got to change it then, right?
But that's my opinion.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Are you finished?
End of report.
Hey, how about Barnheiser?
I've cited him again.
Tell me, what do you cite him? What's going on there? Fill me in.
He's getting cited every day?
No, I have not cited him every day. No, I have not.
Don't we
have a fine for this guy?
We do. So we go back to the same situation that we've been in. A citation gets written. It gets served by our police department. It goes to Struthers Court. And then we wait.
Yeah.
Doesn't the law read, though, that we can cite him for everyday violation at this point?
That is what the law says, yes.
Why aren't we doing that?
I've been taking my direction from Anthony, and I have not done it.
Aha.
If you all tell me to do it... Oh, wait. I am not placing blame on anyone. I'm not pushing the luck. If I'm told to do it every day, it'll be my first stop every morning.
Couple things. I did say that we needed to cite him again. Even though the case was over, even though it was prosecuted, I did say we do need to cite him again. We can cite him every day, but what we run the danger of there is building up more of a fine amount that just takes money that could otherwise go into the home. We also run into the problem of we keep citing him and showing that we don't have a lot of teeth to our ordinance, and then it becomes almost a moot point. So we can. Will it accomplish anything more? I don't think so now, but there's a point in time where I'm probably going to say we do that.
Okay, what do we do? I mean, this is going on the 4th year.
No,
3rd year.
8th
year. Okay, but the bad stuff.
A long time.
Okay. Anthony, you can take, or I can take you down to Youngstown, Gilman, and so forth. There's no place that looks as bad as that. No place in the city of Youngstown. Now, what the heck are we going to do?
Yeah. You know, we've had this discussion more times than I
yeah.
and it's the same problem that there is, other than citing him every day, which we have the power to do, which is a fine. That's all we can do. I heard he had sold it. I was very excited. Didn't go through. We had it for sale.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, and again, you know, Dave takes his guidance from me. I take it from council. If you want to cite him every day, we have the legal authority to do it. I don't know.
Okay, if we don't cite him every day, what's the next move? What are we going to do? Just hang around and look at it and hope for something? What are we going to do? Somebody got to do something.
Yeah, and I've researched this topic as much as any topic that we've had come through here. I mean, more than the trees, more than, you know, the water, whatever it was. I've researched this ad nauseum. And there is nothing that we can do to make him sell that home or to fix up that home or to make him be active. We can prevent things, but we cannot make him, we can cite him monetarily, but under our own ordinances, we can do no more than fine him. So we can keep doing it.
We're not doing that.
No,
We're
we're
not
not.
finding him. So he's just thumbing his nose at us. Really? This is, how many years now have we been messing around with this? I met with this guy many years ago, and his lawyer and everybody. Nothing's going on. I mean, he's got us in a corner.
Well, what I might suggest
What the hell
is
is
this,
going
if we're at this point, because right now the weather's about to break again. We're going to have good weather.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him, and what I would recommend is a set time frame that if we talked about this years ago, but if A, B, and C aren't done by within 60 days, then we will start citing you every single day. We give him a time to do certain things, understanding that the weather can only permit it before too long here. And if he does not meet the improvements and under the time guidance we want him to, then we start citing him every day. If he meets it, then we give him a new set of things. If I understand correctly, the thing that I would want, the council would want, is the exterior. I don't care about the interior of that house. I don't care if it's empty. I just want the exterior of it done.
Yeah.
So let me reach out to him. Maybe Dave and I can meet. I won't say anything, promise him anything on behalf of council because I cannot do that. I will tell him what I would recommend to you, which is that let's agree what we can get done here within 60 days so we can show council you're doing it.
He needs to start, he needs to show us that he's starting to do
Yes.
something at a certain point in time, and he needs to be completed at a certain point in time. If he doesn't meet either one of those criteria,
We start citing him.
then we start checking.
I agree.
Start within 30 days, finish within whatever.
All right.
Good. I had a schedule like that.
I know.
I met with him.
I remember.
Okay.
If you could find it, Mr. Major, give it to me just so I know where we were when we got done and didn't get done.
What is the fine, the daily fine?
$100.
Huh?
$100 a day.
$100 a day. I should have waited for that. But if you don't have it, if you don't have the money, we're kidding ourselves.
That's the other end of it, is
We're kidding ourselves.
if we fine him every day, we're either going to have to forego the fines at some point, or we're going to take the money in fines and it won't go towards the house. So that's only catch-22,
Forced to sell it.
which I would love,
Then he'd be forced to sell it.
which we would
We've
then...
got to force his hand now to do something.
Anthony, do you know what he wanted when the for sale sign was out there?
No.
I was too stupid to
No.
take a look. Doggone it.
I'll reach out to him,
Okay.
and I'll report back to council.
You gotta get the whole neighborhood together, we'll buy the place and demolish it.
12 hole, man.
Yes?
12.
12?
Yes, it's 12.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Is it?
That's it for the report.
Motion to approve the zoning administrator's report.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any solicitor's report?
I have a lot to go over here.
Sure you did.
No, I don't. Only one thing that hasn't been covered already tonight is the folks that own or have the rights to the theater area that we had the Yellow Creek Theater reached out to me and inquired as to the village's position regarding a riparian setback, number one, and with the state of Ohio having the right-of-way under that bridge, and what do we feel about that? I remember when this all came down a couple years ago, or a year ago, I can't remember now, but the state of Ohio was all upset that they built under that right-of-way. I talked to them. They were going to come here, they were going to cite him, they were going to tear it down, and they did nothing. They did nothing. It was only through council's persistence that we had it taken down because he refused to follow the procedures that we wanted. The folks that are seeking the variance wanted our assurance that it would be okay with the state of Ohio, and I said I can't talk for the state of Ohio about that. All I can do is reach out to the state of Ohio and say, what is your feeling about if we were to approve a variance? What would your concerns be?
Variance for what?
For the riparian setback to make another Yellow Creek Theater pavilion like they had before. They just took it and they just tore it down. They still want to put it back up. We want to make sure it's within the riparian setback ordinance.
Exactly.
But what they're concerned about is
Who's they?
the people that have the rights to the elevated speed at this time.
Can you name a name?
I will tell you.
Okay, I know who you mean. Okay, go.
So they wanted assurances that if they would get the variance, that the state of Ohio is going to be okay with it. And I said, I can't tell you that. I can try to help you with that, but I can't speak for them, nor would I. So I'm going to call the state of Ohio and talk to them about that to find out where they stand on this. Because the truth is that, and they pointed this out to me, there's steps back there were made under the right-of-way, and they never did anything about it. I don't know why they would be so concerned, but I'll check it through, and they wanted to talk with Dave and myself about the variance.
They also called me, and I said, you're entitled to apply for a variance. Just make sure that there's a check that accompanies it. And the Board of Zoning Appeals operates on their own accord.
Well, whoever asks for the variance has to have standing, though.
That's true. The phone call that was made to me was from John Scofford, so I didn't get into that, but I just told him you're entitled to
The owner of the property has standing.
apply, make sure the check's included.
Am I correct?
Good luck.
That's right.
The owner of the property.
The owner of the property.
Yeah, you can't have a representative come in and make that request.
Well, I don't know about that, but certainly the owner of the property.
From the property owner.
Either the owner or, this
Well, yeah,
Or his agent,
yeah,
yeah.
but you have to have standing.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember this only because Mr. Eiselstein, I don't know that. I didn't think he had standing in the past because he's not the owner, but he's the agent with the rights to that property to start. And now it sounds like he's giving the rights to someone else to do the same. So we'll check that first.
Who owns the property?
Well, the family owns the property and is on a contract with Mr. Eiselstein to buy it. And it's very murky on how it works. I looked at it, and there seemed to be like a balloon payment of some sort with monthly payments. He had right to it, was my opinion. He's not the owner. It wasn't anyway when I looked at it last. That was like 3 years ago. That's it.
Okay. Make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
All in
Solicitor?
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Report from Chief of Police and Street Commissioner.
Both departments submitted in writing.
Motion to accept Russ's reports on the police. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. We've talked about all this.
Seconds from member, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Report from engineer.
I got nothing right now.
All right. Reports from outstanding committees of council, finance, wage, audit, and insurance.
Okay, so just very briefly, we're going to go through this because we didn't have time in our caucuses tonight. The budget that you have in front of you presented tonight, the section that is in red up in the corner, revised for Village Green, that's because that was added in after the fact. All of the requests that were made I guess I should ask you first, did you have questions about the actual document? Okay, so the requests that we had, just very quickly, you're going to see them in different places, some of them popping up. First of all, what Nick did on this, now I never did it this way, but I think what he did is a good idea, actually. Yeah, I have to but he actually added in a allowable line item here for street repairs under general fund. We never did that. We always had everything accounted for under street fund. But the issue that we're having now is that street fund is running a little short. And because of that, we're going to end up supplementing once again, which we did some years ago, and then we were able to stop for a while. And now we're having that same issue again where street fund is running short. So we are actually able to take these expenditures legitimately when we use the proper line item under general fund, which will be the street repairs that you're seeing here under general fund, right under street commissioner. Okay, and what we did here was, Russ was asking for the impeller to be replaced, the trailer that needed to be replaced, and also supplies for salt, which would be fall of 16, if we need to do that. So all of those items then will show up here under street repairs. You see the $27.50, and the supplies and materials, that will be your salt, for a total of $10,250. So if this looks a little unusual to you, it's because it is. We've had land and buildings. Everyone is probably by now aware of the fact that we had to replace the phone system. So that was some expenditure that we had to add in. And that is done under land and buildings, $3,300. We did include the signs in the budget that we planned.
I think we set aside $1,000, and the actual is $412.
So we actually have some left over there.
A lot, yeah.
We don't know yet what any cost will be as far as water testing, but we'll deal with that as it comes along. We had, of course, the historical marker, $2,730 under land and buildings.
How much?
$2,730.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's okay?
Yeah.
The hospitalization increase across all departments, $17,600. That one hurts. And we will be pooling out money from STAR for the startup of the grants for paving. And this one will be Sheridan, which we had planned on. It will not be the first round of tax money because we won't have the tax money yet. That will be next year. But we're going to get it started with a local match of $45,140 and the grant itself.
Where's she talking? Here?
Details.
Oh, it's not in there.
And I think we pretty much covered all of the things we added in. One of the things that Bill had mentioned was that there was a section of the 224 bridge over Yellow Creek that needed painting. And it just so happens that we received legislation from ODOT where they are planning the schedule out, and it is quite a ways out. It's April of 2018. But they are doing repaving on that bridge. So I called them, and I asked, could we possibly do the painting that needs to be done on this same project? Would they include it? So they're checking that out for us, and if we can get it paid for through that project, then quite possibly that's the way we should go. Now, whether we can wait until 2018, if you feel that it's too unsightly and you want it done sooner, we can ask for permission to have our guys do it and see if they will give us that permission. They might not, and then again they might. But then it would be at our cost.
Yeah. It's bad. It's very bad, in my opinion. But the state's going to pay for it.
We can wait.
I can be patient.
We can wait. And there's no other issue involved there. It's just
No
aesthetics.
safety issue. It's just very unsightly.
That would be my choice too, is we just wait and try to get it on, unless they come back and say that they will not include it. In which case we'll ask for permission to paint it ourselves. Can our guys do that? I guess I should ask that question.
I've talked to Russ about this, and I think his assumption was that he would do it this year. But
they're capable of doing
oh
that.
yeah. But there's some question. We were questioning whether we should paint it or or sandblast it and get rid of the paint altogether so we wouldn't have to paint it ever again. So there's that option too.
Yeah, I don't know if they would allow that or not, but
Right.
let's take it one step at a time and see if they,
Right. Yeah, let's see if they'll paint it.
yeah. And then if they say no, then we'll start asking some questions about what we can possibly do.
See?
Yeah.
Good.
Linda, can we get a copy of the details like you have Bill's got here?
I don't have
You know what I'll do is I'll type this all up so that you'll know where to refer to what
That's not the one we talked about. I mean,
of which.
from ODOT that we just got?
Oh, yes, yes.
No,
Matter of
I
fact,
don't care
everybody
about
should
that.
have
That's 2
a
years
copy.
away.
Everybody should have a copy. We're going to do the legislation tonight.
But he's talking about the detail like
I'd like, yeah,
the requests.
I would like to see
that were-
all of
the
the
old
folded
budget
into
and the
this.
new budget. I'd like to see those 2 copies.
Nick can get that done for you.
Good, I know he can.
Yeah.
Okay, can you do that for us? Good.
Yeah. To show where these things are being paid out of.
Sure.
So that we can see the ups and downs in the budget itself in comparison to last year's.
Good.
And in line with that also, I received this from MS.
Yeah.
It's about our
So
research
yeah,
issue.
$3,500.
Right, so I'll get it Xeroxed off. I'll give you a copy.
Yeah.
Anyone
told
else
me
who wants
about
this,
that,
just
yeah.
let me know and I'll make them a copy. It's just rather thick.
Okay.
What do they need from us?
This is just MS's application.
You know, our
For
retainer.
financing for
Annual
this year.
retainer,
Oh, our annual,
$3,500.
okay.
Yeah.
This is for the resurfacing, the Sheridan Road.
Oh, it is?
Oh, that's
Right.
different. But we
Oh,
also got the
I need to
contract.
see that.
Oh.
We own.
I don't have that yet.
Who's got that?
They haven't sent it, Joe.
I don't have that.
Doesn't Gary
Fiorio
usually give
told
it to
me.
you?
We got it. Okay, I'll check again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
We have to be sure that we're up on all of the details for that project. Anything that ODOT needs from us to move forward.
As soon as you adopt that here tonight, I'll fill it out and it'll be gone.
Okay.
If you and I can get together on that, okay?
Yes.
Find out budget.
Yep.
Okay.
So how you got,
Appreciate
Linda?
that.
Yes. Anybody have any questions other than what we've talked about? There were not a ton of requests, so I applaud that. We're trying to live in this budget, and I think last year we did a pretty good job,
Yeah.
and
good.
we're aiming for the same thing.
Good? That it, Linda?
Yes.
Motion to approve the finance report?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Legislation and Policy Committee?
Nothing.
Police and Fire?
Nothing.
Street, Sidewalks, and Drainage? And Blooper?
Nothing.
Reports from boards, Planning Commission?
I'm going to hear about the second reading of 2 ordinances we have proposed. There was a question about our timeline and our time frame. Bill suggested that we might have been thrown off in the delay of reading because of the inclement weather meeting.
Yeah, the meeting that we lost, and it has to be done in a certain amount of time. Anthony?
Yes.
Could you take a look at that? We have a second reading today where we should have had last meeting. And we're supposed to, and when something is presented to council for a zoning change, it needs to be done in the hearing within a certain period of time.
30 days?
Yeah, with 30 days. So we may have gotten thrown off with that. I mean, what are the options?
I'll look right now.
I believe our first reading.
Zoning change for what, Bill?
Defense ordinance and the
Permits and fees.
Okay, we're going to talk about that fence ordinance. This is the second reading, right?
It is. It might be. We might be starting over. Is that what you're suggesting?
well,
We
Are
could
you
bump
going to bring
it back.
that up? Are you going to bring that up?
I'm
The
sorry
fence-
to bother you. Could you speak up so the students can hear?
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
they're here to learn, all of you.
We have
They're here to learn.
2 ordinances we're considering updating the wording of. One is an ordinance establishing an expiration limit on zoning permits and related fees as enumerated in Section 1262.04 of the Poland Village Zoning Code. issued by the Village of Poland. And I can circulate the language if anybody would like to see it. Extra credit. You guys get that? All right. The other is an ordinance establishing zoning regulations regarding fences in the Village of Poland. And we were updating that and establishing some new language. Right? So, and what has happened here is the readings have to go through a cycle, first, second, and third reading, with a public hearing following between the second and third reading of the ordinance. And obviously, during the first half of this, we go through the process of reading it and deciphering all of the new language. But as time goes on, we just consider the title here to save time and to keep everyone awake also. So.
Well, how about this fence deal? Are you going to bring that to the floor here?
It's on the floor currently.
Okay. I object to where it says no fence may be erected within 3 feet of a common property line. No good. 3 feet from a property line. No.
Why, Joe?
That's crazy. Why? Because you're paying taxes for all that property, all the way around, 3 feet. The township don't have it. Why are we messing with that? It should be on the property line.
Access to the fence. I mean, it's difficult to have a fence on a property line because the other person can't get to the other side of the property. This is administrative. No, it is a problem when you're in dispute on a property line.
Yeah.
People don't allow you on the other side of the property line. This allows enough space so you can maintain that.
3 feet. No. Yeah. You're paying taxes and all that.
What are you going to do with 3 feet?
I don't know. Why are you going to set that aside and give it to the neighbor? That's crazy.
You're not giving it. Let me explain this a little bit because I was on planning when this was being written and I basically wrote it. This legislation was taken from a huge amount of municipalities throughout the state of Ohio, and it was patterned after that. And this is a common, very, very common attribute of this type of legislation, and the reasoning behind it is, like Bob said, is for access. Let's say you have two fences, two neighbors who want to put up fences, they both put them on the line, there's no opportunity for maintenance between them.
Impossible. You can't put two fences on the same line.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
That's the point. That's the reasoning behind the very small setback, so that there's room for maintenance.
If people are putting up a fence, usually there's a problem between the neighbors, and so that you need this for a sort of a cooling off period so that people can go around and maintain it.
And believe me, I know because I have fences all through my backyard, and they were put up in the old-fashioned. They're all on the line, and they cause problems.
Right.
Because I want to put mulch down, and it's going to stretch over in the neighbor's yard, and they want to do this next to the property, and there's no room for them to do what they would like to do. So I personally experienced this problem.
Right.
And of course, the owner owns all of their property. It's just a grace area, like the margin of a piece of paper. It gives you still room. You're still on the paper, but you need to right within the other area of it.
And the impetus for this was a letter that I received from Chief Comstock from the Western Reserve Joint Fire District recommending that all fences being installed in the future be 3 foot back so that a fully geared fireman can get through the yards for safety purposes.
Yeah. I know. I talked to him about that.
And again, this is you pick just about any zoning ordinance throughout the state of Ohio, throughout the country, and this 3 foot setback is it's common. Not common. It's just about all of them.
Okay, 200 times 3 feet is 600 square feet. The cube root of that is 24 feet. 24 by 24. You're giving that away. You're paying taxes on that. I don't agree.
But what are you doing? Growing tomatoes on that?
He's doing grass on it.
What are you growing? Tomatoes in 3 feet?
No, I'm just trying to have a feeling what's going on. I don't have any trouble.
It would be in the zoning code itself.
Well, we're currently discussing the validity of our time frame with the ordinance. Are we permitted to go ahead and present it and vote? And then should we retract it if it's off track?
Well, we have to do
We're going to have to make that
resolution anyways.
Let's just move forward and we'll work this out.
Anything else from the planning report?
Is there already public hearing set for it?
No, as soon as we find out what we're doing here, we'll have to set the public hearing because it should be or would be after this one, sometime between now and the next reading. But since we've got thrown off time, we might have to start all over again. Let's see. Okay.
That would have to be our ordinance.
So,
Do you want me to talk about, that's the end of
yeah,
what I'm
anything else
here
from
to
planning?
present.
That's your report?
Just we're discussing topping off trees, and we'll be referring to Mr. Bramer about consultation on the types of trees that would be recommended for new plantings within the village, ones that don't impose upon utility lines, and then current trimming recommendations and how to work better with the utility companies. And we did pull some language from Chagrin Falls, St. Clairsville, New Middletown, Hudson, and Canfield. It's pretty involved, so it'll take a few meetings to hammer out, but our next meeting is April 20th if anybody would like to come and consult also on this issue.
Motion to approve the planning report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Board of Zoning Appeals?
168 Oak.
There's nothing going on there, right? No. Architecture Review Board?
No, we've already discussed it.
Forest Board?
Well, Eleanor, would you like to give us a little summary of what's going on?
First of all,
Eleanor Zeniker is the chairman of the Forest Board.
with your permission. Eleanor Zediker, 70 Fulham Manor, if you need that. Anyway, just to give you an overview, first of all, thank you very much to the mayor and to the council for the recommendation of a person to fill the vacancy on the Forest Board. Thank you to the council for the approval. So we will now have a full force, but also looking forward to some other plans in the future, which we'll share at that time. Right now, just to bring you up to date on the Ohio State Forester, the Ohio State Forester is working in conjunction with another certified forester, although not employed by the state of Ohio, and they are now working on all of the things that have to happen about familiarizing the situation in Poland Municipal Forest, putting it together on a report. The mayor is the point person for the contact. If there are any questions or any concerns, please do talk to the mayor. We tried to keep the channels as clear and direct as possible. If the mayor is not available, please let me know. We'll go to Plan B. But that's very encouraging that that's underway. So
What's underway?
that the two foresters, the Ohio State Forester and the other certified forester, one being Bartlett, the other being Miller, are working together on this report at this time. And also, we welcome anything, any query or any recommendation or suggestion, should I say, from the council at any time, so don't hesitate. Is there more that you want me to say?
Yeah.
We could have a chat for a long time.
Randy Jones is here, right?
Yes, he is.
Randy, would you please get up and tell us a little bit like you did the other night at the Forest Board meeting about your good friends? I mean, just quick, you know. You did a great job.
We are all in debt to people who will no longer have working for Mill Creek Park, who have helped us, the Forest Board in the village, on plant advice. And in particular, we all owe a debt of thanks to Ray Novotny, who lost his job in a restructuring of the Mill Creek employees. Ray gave many hours of time to help Poland Woods establish what plants and animals we have. He has worked with students who had discovered a new salamander on the edge of Poland Woods, and this is now the county record for that salamander. He has worked with groups looking for endangered species. He's a wonderful naturalist, and he is very much in our debt for all that he has done. Thank you.
Okay, were we going to write a letter complimenting Ray? We talked about that, I think, right? We could do that. Okay, also the other night, Jim Bramer, who was also, he was a forester.
Affected, yes.
He's a heck of a guy. He came to our forest board meeting. He was unemployed. Now,
He's on the
I think,
He's on the forest board. He's our tree commissioner.
yeah, but he's no longer with Mill Creek Park. Yeah, he's with us as a volunteer. Yeah. Okay. Let's include Ray because.
Ray and James, sure.
Yeah, and Jim. Yeah, right. Yeah,
He's our tree commissioner.
correct. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Randy.
Randy, thank you.
Okay, the other thing, Eleanor, are you finished?
Well, I was minimizing my remarks.
Okay, all right. Okay, you know I've been trying to get some action from Mike Eager at Republic Landfill, right? Or, you know. Okay, so they looked at the situation the other day by Marthy Bridge, right? Okay. Now, then I think I informed you about this. That's a big job, and they don't have the equipment because the trucks now have aluminum beds, and this is going to take big stuff to fill in that where the bank is being eroded. So Mike asked me if he could get together with the sanitary engineers, and I said absolutely. And I didn't hear back from him. I called him today, but his contractor called me and we had a nice discussion because I told him one thing we have to do is make sure the roads are accessible for emergency vehicles. And they're just waiting for the weather to break because they're just going to make a lot of mud right now. But that problem on that bank by the Marthy Bridge, where the sanitary sewer is coming through there and the bank is being washed away, we feel that that's the sanitary engineer's responsibility. So Mike Heher, who runs, you know, the whole shooting match out there at Republic, he asked me, I said, absolutely, go get him. But I haven't heard back. Okay, that's where we stand on that. But the weather's been lousy. Okay, anything else, Eleanor?
Well, in April, we'll have the usual cleanup and garlic mustard pool.
Yeah.
And I'm embarrassed. I should look on my calendar. I didn't, but it's, I think, the 18th.
Well,
It's
Beth Queen is here.
No, they left as
Oh,
soon
they
as
left?
the person named to the forest board was announced, they left.
Oh, okay.
So they probably had another engagement.
Oh, yeah.
But
Excuse me, Eleanor, it's on the 16th.
on the 16th, Saturday.
16th.
Thank you. Saturday the 16th, we'll be in the forest. We'd love all of the help that will be volunteers. Some of you hope will be the science class and so forth. But anyway, that's an important event for the forest. And we'll announce it again next time, of course.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Motion to approve the Forest Board report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? High Memorial
Nothing to report.
and West Reserve Joint Fire District.
Nothing. Standard stuff.
Reports from special committees. Communication from residents.
May I? Eleanor Zediker, Fuller Manor. About the house in the manor and our just 7 to 8 years now of cheering on the renovation of the house. If any of you would love some beautiful views of that property, because Mr. Limmer, Mr. Major, and I know the solicitor too, we pass it every day. I've almost blanked it out because it's painful to see. And I guess I remember it as a proper two-story colonial with, that housed a family. But if you go into the church, the Poland Presbyterian Church parking lot, and look at the back of the property, you'll have another perspective too. And I hope that you'll wheel your cars in there, look at that, and just figure out what you think of it. Because actually the street view is probably the best. And the large hole, the huge cavern at the one end of the house, fortunately, and I hope it's always that way, no one has disappeared into it. I think all of the children who ride bikes are curious, and you know how curious kids are, even some of we adults. But we have been very fortunate that there has not been an accident that will hurt somebody. And I just wonder if we as a village offered to help this man, as angry as you may be with him and about this issue, if we collectively came together and offered to help him do something to make this work, I wonder if that would be something that communities do. Obviously, it's not moving. He's not telling us what needs done or how he's going to accomplish that. And right now, I'm sure he feels on the defensive, perhaps appropriately. But I wonder if, again, it is a community coming together, almost as a work project sometime, to help him get this stuff. At least the exterior, which was indicated earlier by remark, was the priority. So just a thought. But it has probably devalued a neighborhood that's always been considered a premier neighborhood in the village limits. Not that it's better than another neighborhood, but it's just been historic and very enjoyed by people. So that's all I have to say, and I wish him well. It must be a very tough job.
Anyone else? Any other residents? Okay, any new business? Any old business? Did you find anything out about that, Anthony?
I do. If you can give me the status again of where we are, and I'll tell you what we need to do.
Okay, first reading of
We
what?
read a second reading.
Of what?
Trees and fees.
Fence
Or
ordinance.
fences or fees.
This is an amendment to the ordinance? Or this is a new ordinance?
It's a new one.
Zoning and permits and related fees is an amendment, I thought. Didn't we just change the title?
I think they're separate.
It's new legislation.
Yes, fences is absolutely new legislation,
This is new.
and
I thought there was just an update to the other one, though.
I believe that the zoning permits is an update. It's not new.
Right.
Fences is absolutely new.
The part, Mr. Donovan, that I looked up was an amendment to an existing ordinance, which talked about the recommendation of the Planning Commission, and then it happens afterwards. I think that was the requirements that we were fearing we were under, the 45 days and the 30 days and the 10 days. On new legislation, I don't know that there are those requirements. I think that as long as you do the readings and you have the public hearing, the reason why there are the requirements that you have the amendment is because you are going against perhaps someone's intent, someone who applied for a change or a variance. This talks about whenever there is...
Historically, we've always looked at any change to the zoning code fall under that amendment thing.
Okay. Well, you'd be certainly safe if you fell under it.
Right.
I mean, if you satisfy this, I'm sure you'd satisfy anything that...
Right.
So we
That's
can
the
go...
strictest. That's
Yes,
the
this is the strictest that you're going to get. So... Let's see here.
It was first read on February 3rd.
And the Planning Commission got it, is that correct? Or no?
Planning Commission,
It was January 20th. We passed it out of Planning Commission.
Okay, so once that happened, on January 20th, you have 40 days to consider it.
Which we did
Okay?
on February 2nd.
All right? As long as you've considered it, now you have a public hearing which you have to schedule. Once you do that, you have 30 days then to either adopt or deny the recommendation of planning.
From the point of the public hearing.
Yes.
but we'll be adopting it that same evening as the public hearing, correct?
Yes. The only requirements are that it has to be read on 3 different days, which you could actually override by a 3/4 vote of council if you wanted to do as an emergency. So the only requirements are, once it's been given to council that the hearing is held, once the hearing is held by council, then council shall consider, adopt, or deny within 30 days after that hearing.
So
You're
Tonight
we're
we
timing,
actually
we're good.
scheduled the hearing.
You're good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for researching that. That was
Well, Mr.
tedious.
Donovan found it. I mean,
Probably get some money out of you. All right, motions, ordinances, and resolutions.
I'll make a motion to approve Mark Thompson to the 4th Ward as recommended by the mayor.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm going to present the budget, but I wanted to point out one more thing to you that I feel like I overlooked. This past year, we had a lot of conversation about street workers working down in the forest, okay? And the consensus in our solicitor's opinion was that in an emergency situation, we are very much in a position where we might need them to do something down there, only in an emergency situation. When we've had them down there working in the past, I checked with Nick, and that payroll is being charged to the street department, which it cannot be, okay? Because the street department money comes from sources which are not permitted to be used for working down in the forest by our street department, okay? So what we did in order to comply with needing possibly to use them for an emergency situation was to build in under another new line item, which Nick found in the general fund, is a forest line item, okay? And this money would be only used if it was for an emergency. A tree that falls in a pathway, something of that nature. So what you will see under, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the 4th line item down, the heading under general fund is forest. So there's $2,000 allowed for salaries, $280 for the PRS, and $30 for the Medicare that would accompany those wages. And it would be there for a situation where we have an emergency that we would have to use our guys.
But when they're down there, they need to record their time.
Absolutely.
They will fill out a separate, time card just for the forest.
Russ needs to know
Just like they do with the Hein Fund,
Exactly.
they will do it for the forest also. So everything is all identified.
And accounted for under
And
the
then at
proper
the end of
fund.
the year, if anyone wanted to know how much we're down there, we have those numbers.
Not only that, but it's getting paid out of the right fund then too. Okay? So we are aligned for that. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings to pass by emergency and the ordinance to set the budget for 2016.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Terry Limmer?
Yes.
Mr. Major,
Abstain.
Mrs. Cernick,
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Yash.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for an ordinance to make permanent appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Poland, County of Mahoning, State of Ohio, during the year 2016 and declaring an emergency.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Donovan,
Yes.
Attorney Limmer,
Yes.
Mr. Major,
Yes.
Mrs. Cernick,
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Yash.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings to pass by emergency, an ordinance for consent legislation for resurfacing.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Donovan,
Yes.
Attorney Limmer,
Yes.
Mr. Major,
Yes.
Mrs. Cernick,
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Yash.
Yes.
Am I going too fast, Mark?
Just a bit. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for an ordinance for consent legislation for the resurfacing of US 224 from 19.80 to 20.91 in the Village of Poland, includes minor bridge work.
Just give him a copy of that.
Yeah, he has it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read. Includes minor bridge work to SFN 500-4896, Mahoning 224-20.51 over Yellow Creek, and declaring it an emergency.
Why an emergency? This is for 2018.
The emergency is to get it to them.
Oh, yeah, like we
They
said.
would like to have
get
it
it
as
to 'em.
fast
Oh,
as
okay.
possible.
Okay.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Donovan,
Yes.
Attorney Limmer,
Yes.
Mr. Major,
Yes.
Mrs. Cernick,
Yes?
Mrs. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Yash.
Yes.
Any other motions, ordinances, or resolutions? Second and third readings.
Want me to go? An ordinance establishing an expiration limit on zoning and related fees issued by the Village of Poland. Second reading.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
An ordinance establishing... Is there somewhere? Oh, my God.
Zoning regulation.
No, I just did that one. Where's my pen? I have all the same. Oh, here. Ordinance establishing zoning regulations, thank you, Mr. Lemon, regarding fences in the Village of Poland.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. One abstain.
Okay, now we need to set the public hearing.
And to set the public hearing, is it a separate night other than,
We could do it before next council, can't we? Or not?
Yes, we can.
that would be the 16th at 6 o'clock?
6 or 6:30, or probably 6.
We have a committee
Do
at
it at
6:30.
Yep, 6.
So 6
6
o'clock.
o'clock, 16.
Does that need to be advertised?
Yes. Yep.
Is there enough time?
Yep. Okay.
Everybody be here. That'll be on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Wednesday, March 16th at 6 p.m.
So you'll let Paula know to show up advertised?
I'll let Paula know. Sure.
All right, presentation of the bills.
Make a motion that the bills be paid.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Questions from the news media? Remarks by council. Mrs. Wilson.
I'd like to thank the public for attending tonight, especially the young people, apparently from the public schools. Or you can please share with us where you're from. Do you have a designated spokesperson?
Spencer Price is a designated speaker.
And you're here for a government class. Yeah. So aptly shared. Very good. And any remarks on what you've learned this evening?
Very exciting.
An awful lot. Good answer. We appreciate you being here and taking part of it.
Mr. Donovan?
I just want to comment on Nick's hard work to put this budget together. He did some unique things and a lot of hard work, and Linda as well. Thank you both. You guys did great work.
I'd like to thank Nick, too, for some of your creative ideas that you had that helped with the budget.
Just sing the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Doesn't
John.
matter. Mr. Major.
Thanks.
Sir, anything besides that? Mr. Limmer?
Well, I want to thank both Nick and you, that the marriage is still holding together. Working on the budget.
Yes. Mrs. Yass, welcome back, Limmer.
Yeah,
Welcome back. That's right.
thank you. Good job on the budget.
Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:55.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
I lost my paperwork.
That's all right. That's all right.
I have to,